Greetings and welcome back to CS275 Database Development. In this lesson we're going to go over retrieving data. So our main goals are retrieving specific rows, how that works, and then sorting the data, whether it just be all the rows or some of the rows. So our objective for this is you will be able to select given rows that I tell you to using the correct commands. So let's look at the actual commands to get this data that we want to retrieve. The base one, and you've seen this before, this select star from table name gets all of the data, right? It gets every single column. That's what the star is. Select is the command word. Star means all of the columns from another command word, and then whatever the table is. So in our case, select star from users. And the key to this lesson is not very difficult. It's going to be a relatively short lesson, but you need to understand what's going on, right? So in this next one, we're selecting the columns, right? The columns that we want. And as we go through this, and this is why it's important, is this lesson you're not going to see a lot of used to it right away. Why don't I just always select star, right? But as you build programs, as you want to get just the data to export to Excel or whatnot, this stuff becomes more relevant, right? You'll probably see the where condition as we start talking about that, why it's important. But again, selecting this is all of the columns, and then you just write the actual name of the column, and it'll give you just that data. And again, from the table. And then the last one, same concept. You can select the columns. Now you can do select star from and use the where condition. It doesn't really matter. This is, again, just an example. It's just important you understand you can make this work for what you need to do. So in this case, we're selecting two columns from the table and where the condition is met, right? So in this case, right, the select piece is columns. So star is all of the columns. When you do column 1 and column 2, it's just selecting those two columns. The where is the rows, right? The rows going across, you only get specific rows. And we'll see some examples in a second. The second thing we're going to cover is how do you order the data. Again, not a very complicated thing, just knowing that you can do stuff, right? I could do select star from table name. I can select star from table name, and I can have a where clause in here, and it only orders the specific ones I want to look at. So the actual command you're looking for is order by, right? The keyword is ordered by, and then column 1 first. So if it's like first names, last names, or last names, first names, you can get all the last names, and then order by the first names when people have the same last names, and then ascending, descending. Again, these are keywords, so you don't have to. A lot of people just do one, order by this column, first name, last name, and then ascending or descending. And if you ever get that wrong, just use the other one, right? This is ascending, this is descending. And that's exactly what you type. This is an or. One of those two is what you add at the end if you want to do it. If you don't add it, it'll just automatically default to whatever the default is for it. So let's go ahead and jump into this because I think it's important that you see how this looks. Now, as I mentioned, we've already used this. This should look familiar from what we've done before. But here's a select star, right? And I said columns. So this is a column. So select star from, this is a column. Users. This is the users table, right? And I did not specify anything, so it gave me every single row that I have. This is all of the users in this table. So as we go down, let's go ahead and just select. We just want to select two of these, right? Or two of these columns, right? That's the first thing we talked about, was this is all of them, right? All of the columns. And there's all of the rows because we don't have a where condition, but let's look at the columns now. And we want to select first name, last name, right? So first name, last name from users. And now you can see it just gave us those two columns, right? So hopefully this visualization is helping you see how this command is working. So the next one, mainly to show you, and apparently I didn't copy everything that we need. We're going to go ahead and actually has the wrong stuff total, so let me delete that and paste this again for us one more time. All right, so again, we want the star, we want all of the columns, and then where the first name is John. Now in this case, that's going to be mostly everybody, but let's go ahead and run that. And you can see original 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now there's no 2 because that person's first name was not John, right? And if we do the order by at the end, we can order by age. Right, and now you can see how the order by works, right? So age is now ordered by age. And then, as I mentioned, you can add ascending, descending, as needed. But this just allows you to select exactly what you need. So if you have a bunch of data, you can pick just certain pieces of it and export it to Excel. Or if you're building a program, you're not downloading and processing a bunch of information with that program. You can just get the data you need. All right, couple more examples. So in this case, I'm only going to get the nicknames of the Johns. So in this case, nickname of people who are John. So if your name is Jane, it's not going to go ahead and bring that nickname back. Last one, and this is probably, especially if you're coding, if you get into coding later on for web pages or whatever you might be doing, a lot of the times you'll want to get it by its ID, right? That gives you the specific. If I search for John, it's going to bring back all of these. Well, if I want John Doe, I can add commands and search where first name equals this and last name equals this, or I know the ID is unique, right? So in this case, if you notice, I switched the table up on us. So in this case, we're selecting the name from Doge where ID equals 1, and that is the name of that. And again, I can do a quick select, star from Doge. And you can see ID1 is indeed the name that was pulled up here, right? So these are some good examples of how exactly the select statement works, right? But it's important. This is not super complicated, yet you do need to understand what you can do and how it turns in the whole entire table, right? Just star from this returns everything, and you can narrow down what you're trying to look for. That's all I have for you today. See you later.